Children, as I mentioned earlier, that the society was becoming more and more complex, okay, and that led to hierarchy. There was a distinction between high class and low class, okay, and then we can see that now the low class people now had to pay taxes and offer goods and services to the local lords. They became the landlords for the high caste and started now collecting taxes from these farmers. So this also started. Okay, so here we can see that the forest dwellers decreased and there was farming societies increased, and with the farming societies increased further, then we go and see that invaders and outside people from Persia, from Arab, from China started coming into India, and then we will see the growth of two major religions in our country, Hinduism and Islam, and later on we see European traders also coming into our country. So now we are going to study that with these farming societies increased, and then there was a distinction between high class and low class, and now we see invaders and outside powers also now getting into India. Why are they coming into India? Because they have heard about the wealth and knowledge that was available in India, and everyone wanted to take opportunity and improve their status in life. So we see which were the invaders and outside powers that came to India, and we see these changes taking place in our country. So you see, children, some of the major powers that came into our country and started getting more importance. They were the Cholas in the south, the Tughlaqs and the Mughals. Okay, so we will do a brief study about them. Children, how did we know about these major empires, the Cholas, the Tughlaqs and the Mughals? Actually, we know them through Prashastris. Now, what is Prashastris? It is coming from a Sanskrit word meaning in praise of. Now, people would write in praise on copper plates, write in praise of a king, and in a kind of nice handwriting, and sometimes they would write so much of praise that it was not true also. They would say, okay, this ruler has occupied so many areas and fought so many battles, but it may not be true. Just to get more money from these kings, they would write in praise of the kings and rulers and emperors. Okay, so from these Prashastris we come to know about all the foreign invaders that have come into our country. Like, for example, I'll give you. So as I told you, during this period, in the medieval period, many empires emerged. Cholas, Tughlaqs, Mughals. And how did we come to know? Is through these Sanskrit Prashastris. Now, what did they do? Like, for example, Balban, who was from the Tughlaq dynasty, they said that his empire extended in the west to Afghanistan, in the east to Bengal, and in the south, all of the South India. And okay, so, and there were poems written on him of the vast empire that he had. But we feel that they have exaggerated this. It was not that he occupied so many areas of land. Now here you can see this is the extent that they are saying he has, but it is not true. Okay, so these historians consider this as an exaggerated claim, something that they have unnecessarily praised and said that he had a vast empire. Children, as I told you, there were now bigger empires being created, and they were ruled by big emperors who are like the Cholas and Tughlaqs. I have told you about Ghiyasuddin Balban, the extent of his empire. Then after that, the Khiljis and Mughals were coming in, and they were able to build an empire pan-regional. Pan-regional means occupying the entire part of India, even parts of the western part of India, eastern, southern part of India. So they occupied all those regions. So children, which means that the different regions were often ruled by the same king, or they were ruled by the Chola kings or the Tughlaq kings. Okay, so the king was the same, but what happened in those regions? They had their own culture and traditions, and they also now got influenced by the culture that the king brought in, their culture and tradition. So it became a mixture. So they were now because they were under the same king, they started taking and mixing with those kinds of cultures and traditions that the king brought, plus their own culture that they had. Okay, so it was a shared characteristics. All of them shared their traditions and languages. So you can see that was the difference in the culture and tradition everywhere. Okay, so now we see a mix happening. Like Earlier, idlis and dosas were known only in South India. The North Indian did not know about it. But now, because of these kings, they took up those cultures, and now South Indian food is popular in North India also, and North Indian food is popular in South India. So, because of this mix and because of these changes started taking place. There was a mix of culture and tradition and language, all that started getting mixed. Okay, because these rulers were ruling not only in one area but pan-regional. That means they were occupying entire part of India, east, west, north, south. Okay. Children, we also see a rise of many regional languages, and we see it is there in your books. In 1318, a poet called Amir Khusro, he wrote that there were different languages in every region. Okay, every regional language was developed. We'll see which were the regional language. You can see variety of regional language. There was Dwars Samudri in Karnataka, Telangana in Andhra, Gurjari in Gujarat, Mabari in Tamil Nadu, Gauri in Bengal, and Hindutva in Delhi. Okay, and then he further goes on to say that Sanskrit was a common language, did not belong to any region, a particular region in India. It was an old language. Common people did not know it. It was only meant for the Brahmins who use this language. So Sanskrit being a very, very old language, but we see in this medieval period development of lots of regional languages. Children, now we see another change that took place in the medieval period was the changes in religion. Okay, so we'll now look into the old and new religion that took place. And in these 1,000 years of history, there was a major development in the religious tradition. Okay, and what is religion? Religion is a collective belief in a supernatural power that we believe in. And these religious beliefs kept changing, and they depended on the community that you belong to. Everyone had their own ways of worship, own ways of doing puja. So it all depended on what kind of a society you belong, how rich you were, how poor you were. So whenever an organization changes, a social organization brings about changes, it also brings about changes in their religious belief. Like we'll see here in this diagram, what is religion? It is a collective belief in a supernatural power. And it is closely connected with two things: social organization which caste you belong to, and your economic status, economic organization. So whenever there is a change in the social organization or economic organization, social is the caste and economic is the money, whenever this brings about changes, they bring about changes in the religious beliefs also. They keep changing. So we see changes taking place in religion during these 1,000 years that we are going to study. Children, so we see during this period important changes occurred in Hinduism. Now what were the changes that occurred in Hinduism? They started worshipping more new deities, constructions of temples started by the kings they had started, and the Brahmins became very important member of the society because they had the knowledge of the Sanskrit text, and they were very respected in the society. So their position grew stronger and stronger, and they were appointed by the kings in their courts. And they got the support of the kings. Patrons means they were new rulers who wanted to build their stature and reputation, because these Brahmins would praise them, so they wanted them to be in their courts. So they appointed them. Okay, and because they had the knowledge of Sanskrit text, they would help them understand everything and do all kinds of religious practices for them. Children, we see a new idea coming up in Hinduism was the emergence of the idea of bhakti. Now what was bhakti? Bhakti was your devotion to a deity. Okay, you do for that whatever you can pray in your home. If you have faith and love for a particular deity, whatever you want to follow, be it Ram or Vishnu or Shiv or Hanuman, you can do chant some prayers or some rituals at home without the interference or doing any kind of rituals. You don't need the help of a priest or a pandit to come and do those things. It is a connection between you and God. So this new kind of development took place during this medieval period in India. Okay. Children, we also see a rise of new religions coming into our country during this period. Okay, in the 7th century, merchants and migrants who came from Arab countries and Persia, they brought new teachings of the Quran to India. And what is Quran? It is a holy book of Islam. And many rulers now followed Islam and the ulama. Okay, now what is ulama? The learned theologist or jurist. And who are they? They are the person who studies or are a specialist of a certain religion. So they started preaching the religion Islam. So we see the new religion Islam coming into our country. And then we see that Islam was interpreted in variety of ways by its followers. There were two types of followers, the Shia Muslims and the Sunni Muslims. Now, who were the Shia Muslims? Who believed in Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law Ali, okay, and was the legitimate leader of the Muslim community. So they considered Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law as a leader of the Islam religion. But the Sunni Muslims, according to their acceptance, they accepted the authority of the early leaders, the Khalifas. As Khalifas were the spiritual leaders, they considered them as that. So there were differences in this religion of Islam. There were two followers, Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims. So children, what all has happened in this medieval period so far that we have discussed in the chapter? We have seen reduction in the pastoral people and forest dwellers. They now became peasants. So increase in farming increased, and we see rise of regional and invaders coming into India. We see major changes in religion, mainly development of Hinduism and Islam. And after all this, we see the arrival of the European companies coming into India. So all this we are going to study in medieval history in the chapters to come in your standard 7th. Okay, and so there was a lot of change within these 1000 years. From 16th to 18th century was very different from 8th to 11th centuries, and therefore to describe the entire period of history is not very easy. Okay, and if we do a comparison between medieval and modern history, what does modern history suggest? It's something which is very progressive and developed and intellectual and advancement. But that doesn't mean that medieval period was lacking in any progress or development. No, in fact, in these thousands of years, we see several societies and economies have been progressing, and that is the reason why so many other invaders were coming into India, and that's we see European trading coming into India. So we can't say that it's only modern history which is advanced, but we see the changes started in the medieval period, and that is why the study of medieval period is so important. How slowly and gradually things started changing, and finally we reached the modern period. So to sum up the chapter, children, we see changes in maths, changes in technology, changes in words and terminologies. Then we have seen how forest dwellers decreased, and then increasing in farming society, then invaders coming into India. Then we see Hinduism and Islam coming into India, and finally we see the European companies arriving in India. So this is all that we are going to study in the chapters to come in Standard 7. So with this, I end the first chapter, tracing changes. We are going to trace, that means we have just traced and told you what all you are going to study in the chapters ahead. Okay, we have traced, entire tracing has been done right from 700 to 1750 CE, Common Era. So we have seen the changes gradually taking place within these thousands of years.